The China collapse theory is a recurring theme in Western media, suggesting China's economic rise is unsustainable and destined to crumble. This narrative has resurfaced with each economic downturn and political tremor, painting China as an economic giant on shaky legs. But is this theory a genuine assessment of vulnerabilities, or a manifestation of Western anxieties about China's rise? This essay delves into the origins, claims, and implications of the China collapse theory. We aim to provide a nuanced perspective on China's economic trajectory, moving beyond simplistic narratives. The persistence of this narrative raises questions about its accuracy and motivations. Is it a reflection of skepticism about China's economic model and political system? Or is it driven by genuine concerns about China's economic future? Let's explore the heart of the China collapse theory. We seek to understand its origins and implications for the global economy. The roots of the China collapse narrative stem from economic anxieties, ideological differences, and geopolitical rivalries. China's rapid economic transformation has generated awe and apprehension. For some, China's success challenges Western economic orthodoxy. Its state-led development and market forces blend is viewed with suspicion. The rise of China coincides with a period of relative decline for the West. This shift fuels anxieties about China's growing economic and geopolitical clout. Ideological differences amplify these anxieties. China's authoritarian system is often seen as incompatible with sustained growth. This narrative emphasizes the perceived fragility of China's economic model. The China collapse theory has been a recurring theme for decades. Each new wave of predictions is emboldened by past failures. In the 1990s, skeptics pointed to China's underdeveloped financial system and corruption. During the Asian financial crisis, many predicted China would fall next. Yet China weathered the storm and continued its upward trajectory. The 2008 global financial crisis provided another opportunity for predictions of doom. However, China responded with a massive stimulus package. It emerged from the crisis stronger than ever. Despite failed predictions, the China collapse theory persists. Is it rooted in genuine economic vulnerabilities or driven by other factors? China faces real challenges like slowing growth and rising debt. These issues require careful management and reforms. However, predicting collapse ignores China's resilience and adaptability. The theory often overlooks China's significant strengths. China's vast domestic market and technological innovation are key strengths. The Chinese government has a proven ability to implement effective policies. The narrative often misunderstands China's development model. It dismisses the possibility that China's model may be well suited to its circumstances. Western media often adopts a tone of cautious pessimism about China's economic future. This narrative focuses on challenges and potential pitfalls. While acknowledging past successes, it suggests China's economic model has reached its limits. China's unique approach is often portrayed as inefficient and unsustainable. This framing overlooks the historical and cultural context of China's model. It neglects China's successes in lifting millions out of poverty. These portrayals often lack nuance and focus on select indicators. They downplay China's achievements in innovation and poverty reduction. This selective focus perpetuates anxiety and skepticism about China's future. The China collapse narrative is amplified by media outlets and commentators. Reports highlight declining foreign direct investment as evidence of waning confidence. They argue this decline reflects growing perceptions of risk and volatility. Another common refrain centers on the woes of China's real estate sector. This narrative draws parallels with Japan's lost decades. Demographic concerns also feature prominently, emphasizing a shrinking workforce. They argue China is ill-prepared for the consequences of an aging society. Critics allege China's reforms have stalled, stifling innovation and private sector growth. They point to the dominance of state-owned enterprises. Concerns about state regulation of the digital economy are also raised. Critics suggest these measures consolidate power rather than foster innovation. This narrative ignores significant progress in liberalizing China's economy. Ongoing efforts include reducing bureaucratic hurdles and strengthening intellectual property rights. The narrative often overlooks the complex considerations shaping China's reform agenda. China's leaders balance economic growth with social stability and political control. Reforms are implemented gradually and incrementally. Comparing China's situation to Japan's lost decades is simplistic and misleading. The underlying causes and policy responses differ significantly. Japan's bubble economy was fueled by excessive bank lending and speculation. When the bubble burst, Japan's policymakers were slow to respond. China's real estate boom was driven by rapid urbanization and rising incomes. Debt levels are manageable, and China's central bank has more policy tools. China's leadership has shown a willingness to address economic imbalances. Recent efforts include reining in excessive borrowing and cooling the property market. Understanding China's economic trajectory requires looking beyond superficial indicators. It demands examining the nuances of its economic model and policy decisions. Relying solely on headline-grabbing statistics can lead to a distorted picture. A wider range of factors must be considered. Avoid viewing China's model through a purely Western lens. What seems inefficient from a Western perspective may be rational in China's context. Understanding China's future requires a nuanced perspective. Move beyond simplistic narratives and embrace the complexities of China's transformation. Despite collapse narratives, China's economic miracle is undeniable. Over 4 decades, China has transformed on an unprecedented scale. This transformation has lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty, driven by strategic development, infrastructure investment, and global trade. China's leaders created a favorable environment for businesses. Policies encouraged foreign investment and technological innovation. China's GDP has grown at nearly 10% per year for 4 decades. This growth has had profound global ripple effects. The China story is about more than economic statistics. It's a story of human progress and opportunity. A nation overcoming challenges to become a global powerhouse. China's economic transformation has significantly reduced poverty. Over 4 decades, China has lifted over 800 million people out of extreme poverty. This achievement has reshaped the global poverty landscape. China's poverty reduction strategy includes targeted policies and programs. Efforts focus on education, healthcare, and rural infrastructure. Social safety net programs protect vulnerable segments of society. These programs mitigate negative social consequences of rapid growth. China's success is a testament to effective policies and resilient people. Millions have seized opportunities created by economic growth. Their hard work and entrepreneurial spirit drive China's progress. China's poverty reduction journey is a remarkable story of human determination. Section 3. A global economic powerhouse. Assessing China's contributions to global growth and development. China's economic rise has not only transformed its own society, but has also had profound implications for the global economy. As China's economy has grown, so too has its influence on the global stage. Today, China is a major player in international trade, investment, and finance, its decisions and actions reverberating throughout the global economic system. One of the most significant impacts of China's economic rise has been its contribution to global growth. Over the past 2 decades, China has accounted for roughly 30% of global economic growth, more than any other country in the world. This remarkable contribution has helped to lift millions of people out of poverty in developing countries, create new markets for goods and services, and drive innovation and technological progress. China has also become a major source of investment and financing for developing countries, particularly through its Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure development program aimed at connecting China to other parts of Asia, Africa, Europe, and beyond. While this initiative has been met with mixed reactions, it has the potential to unlock significant economic potential in developing countries, creating new opportunities for trade, investment, and development. Furthermore, China's growing economic might has led to a more multipolar world order, challenging the traditional dominance of Western powers. This shift in the global balance of power has created both opportunities and challenges, as countries adjust to a more complex and dynamic geopolitical landscape. Section 4. Challenging the narrative. Highlighting China's economic strengths and resilience. Despite the persistent narrative of impending collapse, the Chinese economy possesses significant strengths and a proven track record of resilience. While acknowledging the challenges it faces, it's essential to recognize the factors that have underpinned China's economic success and continue to position it for future growth. One of China's key strengths is its vast domestic market, with a population of over 1.4 billion people and a rapidly growing middle class. This enormous consumer base provides a significant buffer against external shocks and offers a vast potential market for domestic businesses. As incomes continue to rise and consumer spending continues to grow, China's domestic market will remain a key driver of its economic expansion. Another strength is China's world-leading position in technological innovation, particularly in sectors like renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and 5G telecommunications. China has made significant investments in research and development, nurturing a thriving tech sector that is driving innovation and creating new industries. This technological prowess not only enhances China's economic competitiveness, but also positions it to play a leading role in shaping the future of the global economy. Furthermore, China boasts a high savings rate, which provides a buffer against external shocks and allows for significant domestic investment. This financial strength has enabled China to weather economic storms in the past, such as the Asian financial crisis of 1997–98 and the global financial crisis of 2008–2009, and provides a solid foundation for future growth. Section 5. The Power of Adaptability. Examining China's track record of economic reform and policy innovation. Central to understanding China's economic resilience is recognizing its capacity for adaptation and its willingness to embrace policy innovation. Throughout its journey of economic transformation, China has demonstrated a remarkable ability to learn from its mistakes, adjust its course when necessary, and implement reforms to address emerging challenges. From the early days of its economic opening up in the late 1970s, China has pursued a gradual and pragmatic approach to economic reform, carefully calibrating its policies to balance the need for growth with the imperative of maintaining social stability. This approach has allowed China to avoid the pitfalls of shock therapy and navigate the complexities of economic transition with a degree of success that has impressed even its harshest critics. Moreover, China's leadership has shown a willingness to experiment with new policy approaches, often drawing inspiration from both domestic and international experiences. This openness to new ideas has enabled China to develop innovative solutions to complex challenges, such as its poverty reduction programs, its environmental protection policies, and its efforts to promote sustainable development. This capacity for adaptation and policy innovation is perhaps one of China's greatest strengths, providing a degree of flexibility and responsiveness that will be essential as it navigates the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. As China's economy continues to evolve and mature, its ability to adapt and innovate will be crucial to sustaining its growth trajectory and achieving its long-term economic goals. Section 1. Technological Prowess. Showcasing China's innovations as evidence of its economic dynamism. While narratives of economic doom and gloom persist, a closer look at China reveals a vibrant landscape of technological innovation, a testament to the country's economic dynamism and its determination to seize the opportunities of the 21st century. Far from being a stagnant economy on the brink of collapse, China is a hotbed of technological advancement, leading the charge in fields like renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and 5G telecommunications. This technological prowess is not merely a matter of national pride, it's a strategic imperative for China, a key driver of its continued economic growth and its ambition to become a global leader in innovation. Recognizing that future prosperity hinges on its ability to compete in the high-tech arena, China has made significant investments in research and development, nurtured a thriving tech sector, and fostered a culture of innovation that permeates its economy. The fruits of this strategic focus on technology are evident across a wide range of sectors, from the world's fastest supercomputers to cutting-edge advancements in artificial intelligence. China is making its mark on the global technological landscape, challenging long-held assumptions about the geography of innovation. This technological dynamism is not confined to elite research labs or state-owned enterprises. It's a phenomenon that's also transforming China's private sector, with startups and tech giants alike vying for dominance in emerging fields like e-commerce, mobile payments, and online entertainment. This vibrant ecosystem of innovation is a testament to China's entrepreneurial spirit and its ability to translate technological breakthroughs into commercial success. Section 2. Leading the Charge. Examining China's dominance in electric vehicles and renewable energy. One of the most striking examples of China's technological prowess is its dominance in the field of electric vehicles. Recognizing the environmental and economic imperative of transitioning away from fossil fuels, China has made a strategic bet on EVs, investing heavily in research and development, building out charging infrastructure, and providing generous subsidies to encourage consumer adoption. This comprehensive approach has yielded remarkable results. Today, China is the world's largest market for electric vehicles, accounting for over half of global EV sales. Chinese companies, both established automakers and ambitious startups, are at the forefront of EV innovation, producing a wide range of affordable and high-quality electric cars, buses, and trucks that are capturing market share both domestically and internationally. China's dominance in EVs extends beyond manufacturing. It's also a leader in battery technology, a critical component of the EV revolution. Chinese companies control a significant share of the global battery supply chain, from raw material extraction to battery cell production, giving them a strategic advantage in the rapidly growing EV market. This leadership in EVs is mirrored in China's commitment to renewable energy. Facing severe air pollution and the urgent need to reduce its carbon footprint, China has become the world's largest investor in renewable energy, pouring billions of dollars into solar, wind, and hydropower projects. This massive investment has transformed China's energy landscape, significantly reducing its reliance on coal and positioning it as a global leader in the fight against climate change. Section 3. The rise of indigenous innovation, highlighting China's growing capacity for homegrown technological breakthroughs. China's technological rise is not simply a story of adopting and adapting foreign technologies, it's also a story of indigenous innovation, of homegrown breakthroughs that are pushing the boundaries of scientific and technological knowledge. Increasingly, China is moving away from its reputation as a manufacturer of low-cost goods and establishing itself as a global center for cutting-edge research and development. This shift towards indigenous innovation is evident in the growing number of patents filed by Chinese companies and research institutions, a key indicator of technological progress. In recent years, China has surpassed the United States and Japan in the number of patents filed annually, a testament to its growing capacity for generating new ideas and technologies. This surge in patenting activity is particularly pronounced in fields like artificial intelligence, telecommunications, and biotechnology, where Chinese companies and researchers are making significant contributions to global knowledge. For instance, Chinese tech giants like Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent are investing heavily in AI research, developing algorithms and applications that are being deployed in areas like facial recognition, natural language processing, and autonomous driving. This rise of indigenous innovation is being fueled by a number of factors, including increased government funding for research and development, a growing pool of highly educated scientists and engineers, and a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem that is quick to commercialize new ideas. As China continues to invest in its technological capabilities, it is well positioned to become a global leader in innovation, shaping the future of technology and driving economic progress. Section 4. The 5G Revolution and Beyond. Exploring China's leadership in next-generation telecommunications technology. The rollout of 5G technology is widely seen as a transformative moment in the evolution of telecommunications, promising to usher in an era of unprecedented connectivity, speed, and technological possibilities. And in this race to harness the power of 5G, China has emerged as a clear leader, outpacing its rivals in terms of both infrastructure deployment and technological innovation. Chinese companies like Huawei and ZTE are at the forefront of 5G technology, supplying a significant portion of the world's 5G equipment and playing a leading role in setting global 5G standards. This leadership in 5G is not simply about providing faster internet speeds. It's about laying the foundation for a wide range of transformative technologies, from autonomous vehicles and smart cities to the Internet of Things and advanced manufacturing. China's early embrace of 5G has given it a head start in developing and deploying these next-generation technologies, creating a virtuous cycle of innovation and economic growth. For instance, Chinese cities are already piloting autonomous vehicle programs, leveraging their advanced 5G networks to enable real-time data transmission and communication between vehicles, infrastructure, and pedestrians. This leadership in 5G and its related technologies is expected to have profound economic implications, not only for China but for the global economy as a whole. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected and reliant on data-driven technologies, China's dominance in 5G could give it a strategic advantage in shaping the future of the digital economy. Section 5. A global tech powerhouse, assessing the implications of China's economy. China's emergence as a global technological powerhouse is reshaping the global economic landscape, challenging established hierarchies and creating both opportunities and challenges for other nations. China continues to innovate and invest in its technological capabilities. Its influence on the global economy is only set to grow, with implications for everything from trade and investment to geopolitics and one of the most significant implications of China's technological rise is the potential for increased economic competition. As Chinese companies become more innovative and competitive in high-tech, increasingly challenging the dominance of Western companies that have long held sway in these areas. This competition, while potentially disruptive, could also be a source of innovation and progress, as game and develop new products and services to stay ahead of the curve. China's technological rise is also leading to a shift in global trade patterns. As China becomes a major exporter of it's changing the nature of its trade relationships with other countries. This shift is particularly evident in its trade with developing countries, where China is increasingly exporting not just manufactured goods and expertise, contributing to the development of new industries and economic growth in these regions. Furthermore, China's technological prowess is giving it a more prominent voice in global governance, setting technology standards, regulating emerging technologies, and shaping the rules of the digital economy. As China's influence grows, it is likely to play a more active role in shaping the landscape, advocating for its interests and promoting its vision for the future of technology. Beyond misconceptions, addressing claims of China stifling its private sector. The narrative of China's economic model often hinges on the assertion that the Chinese government actively stifles its private sector, favoring state-controlled entities and hindering entrepreneurial spirit. This narrative, often presented as a foregone conclusion, paints a picture of an economy where private businesses are relegated to the sidelines, starved of resources and opportunities, unable to flourish under the weight of government interference. However, this portrayal overlooks the dynamic reality of China's mixed economy, where the private sector plays a vibrant and increasingly significant role. While it's true that China's economic model differs from the free market capitalism espoused by many Western nations, it's a mischaracterization to suggest that the government is actively suppressing private enterprise. In fact, the private sector has been a key engine of China's economic growth, contributing significantly to job creation, innovation, and overall prosperity. The Chinese government recognizes the vital role of private businesses and has implemented policies designed to foster their growth and create a more level playing field. Moreover, the private sector in China is far from being a monolithic entity, cowed by government control. On the contrary, it's a diverse and dynamic ecosystem, encompassing everything from small, family-run businesses to tech giants with global reach. These businesses operate across a wide range of sectors, from manufacturing and services to technology and e-commerce, demonstrating the breadth and dynamism of private enterprise in China. Dismissing the private sector's role in China based on a simplistic narrative of government control ignores the complex interplay between the state and market forces that has characterized China's economic journey. It's an interplay that has yielded remarkable results, propelling China from a poor agrarian society to a global economic powerhouse in just a few decades. The dynamic duo understanding the interplay between China's state and private sectors. China's economic model is often characterized as state capitalism, a term that reflects the significant role the state plays in guiding economic development. However, this term can be misleading if it conjures up images of a rigid, centrally planned economy where the government dictates every aspect of business activity. In reality, China's system is far more nuanced, characterized by a dynamic interplay between the state and private sectors, each playing a distinct but complementary role. The Chinese government, through its control of state-owned enterprises and its ability to influence economic policy, sets broad strategic goals and priorities for economic development. This guidance helps to ensure that economic growth aligns with broader national objectives, such as promoting technological innovation, reducing poverty, or addressing environmental challenges. Within this framework, however, the private sector is given significant leeway to operate, innovate, and compete. Private businesses in China are not simply passive recipients of government directives. They are active participants in shaping the country's economic trajectory, responding to market signals, identifying new opportunities, and driving innovation. This interplay between the state and private sectors is perhaps best illustrated in sectors like technology and renewable energy, where government support has been instrumental in fostering growth and innovation. The government's strategic investments in research and development, coupled with policies designed to encourage private sector participation, have created a virtuous cycle of innovation, leading to the emergence of global leaders in fields like electric vehicles, solar power, and 5G telecommunications. Understanding this dynamic interplay between the state and private sectors is crucial to appreciating the complexity and dynamism of China's economic model. It's a model that defies easy categorization, blending elements of state intervention and market forces in a way that has proven remarkably successful in driving economic growth and social progress. A catalyst for innovation, examining the role of government support in fostering technological advancement. One of the most striking aspects of China's economic rise has been its remarkable progress in technological innovation. Once known primarily for its low-cost manufacturing, China is rapidly transforming itself into a global leader in fields like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and 5G telecommunications. This technological leap forward is not a coincidence. It's the result of a deliberate and strategic approach to fostering innovation, with the government playing a crucial role as a catalyst and facilitator. Recognizing that future economic competitiveness hinges on technological prowess, the Chinese government has made massive investments in research and development, built world-class research institutions, and implemented policies designed to attract top scientific talent. This commitment to fostering a culture of innovation has created a fertile ground for technological breakthroughs, attracting both domestic and foreign companies eager to capitalize on China's growing technological prowess. Beyond direct investments, the government has also played a crucial role in shaping market conditions to encourage innovation. Through targeted subsidies, tax breaks, and other incentives, the government has created a favorable environment for companies operating in strategic sectors such as electric vehicles, renewable energy, and semiconductors. This approach has been particularly effective in fostering the growth of China's burgeoning tech sector. By providing early-stage funding, facilitating access to capital markets, and creating a supportive regulatory environment, the government has played a key role in nurturing the rise of tech giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei, companies that are now global leaders in their respective fields. Leveling the playing field. Addressing concerns about state-owned enterprises and market competition. One of the most persistent criticisms of China's economic model centers on the role of state-owned enterprises, or SOEs, which are often perceived as having an unfair advantage over private businesses. Critics argue that SOEs benefit from preferential access to government contracts, subsidies, and financing, creating an unlevel playing field that stifles competition and innovation. While it's true that SOEs have historically played a dominant role in China's economy, particularly in sectors deemed strategically important, such as energy, telecommunications, and finance, the government has recognized the need to address concerns about market distortions and promote greater competition. In recent years, China has implemented a series of reforms aimed at leveling the playing field and creating a more market-oriented economy. These reforms have included measures to reduce the size and scope of SOEs, introduce more competition into sectors previously dominated by SOEs, and improve corporate governance within SOEs to enhance their efficiency and transparency. For instance, the government has encouraged mergers and acquisitions among SOEs to create larger, more competitive entities, while also opening up more sectors to private investment and promoting the development of small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. Moreover, the government has increasingly emphasized the importance of innovation and market competition as drivers of economic growth, recognizing that a dynamic and competitive private sector is essential for sustaining China's economic miracle. This shift in thinking is reflected in policies designed to encourage entrepreneurship, protect intellectual property rights, and attract foreign investment, all of which are aimed at fostering a more innovative and competitive business environment. The evolution of reform, recognizing the ongoing nature of China's economic transformation. Understanding China's economic model requires recognizing that it's not a static system frozen in time, but rather a dynamic and evolving process of reform and adaptation. From its early embrace of market forces in the late 1970s, to its ongoing efforts to rebalance its economy and promote innovation, China's economic journey has been characterized by a constant process of experimentation, learning, and adjustment. The Chinese government has shown a remarkable capacity for pragmatism and a willingness to adapt its policies to address emerging challenges and seize new opportunities. This flexibility has been a key factor in China's economic success, allowing it to navigate the complexities of economic transition and maintain a remarkable pace of growth for over 4 decades. The reforms implemented in recent years to address concerns about SOEs and market competition are a testament to this ongoing process of economic evolution. These reforms are not a sign of weakness or a repudiation of China's economic model. Rather, they are a reflection of the government's commitment to creating a more efficient, innovative, and sustainable economy. Moreover, these reforms should not be seen as an endpoint, but rather as part of a continuous process of adaptation and improvement. As China's economy continues to evolve and mature, new challenges will inevitably arise, requiring further reforms and policy innovations. The key takeaway is that China's economic model is not a fixed blueprint, but rather a dynamic and evolving system that is constantly being refined and adjusted to meet the changing demands of the global economy. This capacity for adaptation and reform is perhaps one of China's greatest strengths, providing a degree of flexibility and responsiveness that will be essential as it navigates the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. The geopolitical undercurrents. Analyzing how US-China relations shape the China collapse narrative. While economic factors undoubtedly play a role in shaping perceptions of China's economic future, it's crucial to recognize the significant influence of geopolitics, particularly the complex and often fraught relationship between the United States and China. The China collapse narrative often serves as a proxy for broader anxieties about China's rise as a global power, anxieties that are amplified by the lens of strategic competition between the two nations. The United States, accustomed to its position as the world's sole superpower, has viewed China's rapid economic growth and growing global influence with a mixture of awe, apprehension, and a sense of its own waning dominance. This shifting balance of power has fueled a narrative in certain US policy circles that portrays China as a strategic competitor, a revisionist power seeking to displace the United States and reshape the global order to its advantage. This narrative of strategic competition inevitably seeps into economic analysis, coloring perceptions of China's economic trajectory and influencing policy decisions. The China collapse theory, whether implicitly or explicitly, often serves to reinforce this narrative, providing a seemingly objective rationale for policies aimed at containing China's rise. Furthermore, the China collapse narrative often serves as a convenient scapegoat for domestic economic woes in the United States. By blaming China for job losses, trade imbalances, and other economic challenges, politicians and commentators can deflect attention away from structural problems within the US economy and rally support for protectionist policies that ultimately harm both countries. Section 2. The Trade War and its Discontents. Examining the economic and rhetorical impact of US tariffs on China. The Trump administration's decision to impose tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, igniting a trade war between the world's two largest economies, brought the China collapse narrative to the forefront. The tariffs, touted as a way to protect American jobs and reduce the trade deficit with China, were predicated on the assumption that China would be forced to back down, make concessions, and ultimately abandon its economic model. However, the trade war played out differently than anticipated. While the tariffs did inflict economic pain on both countries, China proved more resilient than many had predicted, absorbing some of the impact, redirecting trade and implementing its own retaliatory tariffs. Moreover, the trade war exacerbated existing tensions between the two countries, fueling nationalist sentiment and making it more difficult to find common ground on other issues of global importance. The trade war also highlighted the rhetorical power of the China collapse narrative. By framing the tariffs as a necessary response to China's unfair trade practices, the Trump administration was able to garner support from some segments of the American public and business community, even as economists warned of the negative consequences of protectionism. The trade war, while initiated under the Trump administration, has continued in some form under the Biden administration, demonstrating the enduring appeal of the China collapse narrative and its ability to shape US policy towards China. Section 3. A Strategy of Containment. Deconstructing the US approach to limiting China's economic and technological ascendancy. The China collapse narrative often serves as a justification for a broader US strategy aimed at containing China's rise as a global power. This strategy, which has gained traction across the US political spectrum, seeks to limit China's economic and technological growth, curtail its influence in international institutions, and challenge its assertiveness on the world stage. This strategy of containment manifests itself in a variety of ways, from efforts to decouple the US and Chinese economies to attempts to block Chinese companies from acquiring sensitive technologies. The United States has also sought to strengthen its military presence in the Asia-Pacific region, bolster alliances with countries wary of China's growing might, and portray China as a threat to the existing international order. The underlying assumption behind this strategy of containment is that a more powerful China is inherently detrimental to US interests. This zero-sum view of the relationship fails to recognize the potential for cooperation and mutual benefit, instead viewing China's rise as an existential threat that must be countered at every turn. This strategy of containment carries significant risks, potentially leading to a new Cold War, stifling global economic growth, and undermining efforts to address shared challenges such as climate change and pandemics. Moreover, it's a strategy that is unlikely to succeed in the long term, as China's economic and technological rise is driven by deep structural factors that are largely beyond the ability of the United States to control. Section 4. The Information Battlefield, Unveiling the Role of Propaganda and Perception Management in the China Collapse Discourse. The China collapse narrative should also be understood within the context of a broader information war being waged between China and the West. Both sides are engaged in sophisticated efforts to shape perceptions, influence public opinion, and advance their respective narratives about the other. In the West, the China collapse narrative often draws on a familiar trope of authoritarian regimes being inherently unstable and prone to collapse. This narrative often portrays China as a monolithic entity, controlled by a secretive and repressive communist party that is out of touch with the needs and aspirations of its people. This portrayal, while appealing to Western audiences accustomed to viewing China through a lens of suspicion, often ignores the complexities of Chinese society, the diversity of opinions within the Chinese government, and the genuine popularity of the Communist Party among many segments of the population. China, for its part, has become increasingly adept at promoting its own narrative, highlighting its economic achievements, its contributions to global development, and its vision for a more just and equitable world order. China has also invested heavily in its own state-run media outlets, which often present a more favorable view of China's actions and intentions. Understanding the information war surrounding China is crucial to critically evaluating the China collapse narrative. It's essential to be aware of the biases, agendas, and vested interests that shape the information we consume, and to seek out diverse perspectives that challenge our assumptions. Section 5. A Multipolar World in the Making, Assessing the Implications of China's Rise for the Future Global Order. The rise of China, regardless of whether one subscribes to the China collapse theory, has profound implications for the future global order. China's growing economic and military might, its increasing influence in international institutions, and its assertive foreign policy are reshaping the geopolitical landscape, challenging the long-standing dominance of the United States and its Western allies. This shift towards a more multipolar world order, while potentially destabilizing, also presents opportunities for a more balanced and equitable distribution of power and influence. A multipolar world, in theory, could lead to greater cooperation on global challenges, as countries are forced to work together to address issues that transcend national borders. However, the transition to a multipolar world is unlikely to be smooth or linear. The United States, accustomed to its role as the world's sole superpower, may be reluctant to cede ground to China, potentially leading to increased tensions, competition, and even conflict. The China collapse narrative, if it takes hold, could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, leading to policies that exacerbate tensions, undermine cooperation, and make it more difficult to manage the complex challenges of a multipolar world. Conversely, a more nuanced and realistic understanding of China's rise, one that recognizes both its challenges and its opportunities, could pave the way for a more stable and prosperous future for all. The choices made today by leaders in both China and the West will determine whether the 21st century is defined by cooperation or conflict, by shared prosperity or zero-sum competition. The stakes are high and the outcome far from certain. Section 1. Beyond Collapse, Reframing the Narrative of China's Economic Future. The enduring allure of the China collapse theory, despite its consistent failure to materialize, speaks to the power of narratives in shaping our understanding of complex issues. It's tempting to reduce intricate realities to simplistic binaries, to seek comfort in predictable storylines of rise and fall. However, such reductive narratives, particularly when applied to a nation as multifaceted as China, often obscure more than they illuminate. As we've explored, China's economic story defies easy categorization, encompassing both remarkable achievements and formidable challenges, periods of rapid growth and moments of necessary recalibration. To relegate China's economic future to a predetermined narrative of collapse is to disregard the resilience, adaptability, and sheer dynamism that has characterized its trajectory. It's to overlook the agency of its people, the ingenuity of its entrepreneurs, and the strategic vision of its leadership. It's to dismiss the lessons learned from past challenges, the ongoing reforms aimed at addressing structural imbalances, and the unwavering commitment to securing a prosperous future. It's time to move beyond the seductive simplicity of the China collapse theory and embrace the complexity of China's economic reality. This requires engaging with a wider range of perspectives, delving deeper into the nuances of its economic model, and recognizing the interplay of domestic and global forces shaping its trajectory. It demands acknowledging both the potential pitfalls and the extraordinary possibilities that lie ahead. Central to any discussion of China's economic future is the question of its distinctive economic model, often labeled state capitalism. This unique blend of state guidance and market forces has been both lauded for its role in driving China's economic miracle and criticized for its perceived inefficiencies and lack of transparency. As China navigates the complexities of the 21st century, the sustainability and adaptability of its economic model will be put to the test. One of the key strengths of the China model is its capacity for long-term strategic planning and its ability to mobilize resources on a massive scale. This has been evident in China's rapid infrastructure development, its strategic investments in emerging technologies, and its ambitious poverty reduction programs. However, this top-down approach also has its drawbacks, potentially leading to misallocation of resources, bureaucratic inertia, and a stifling of entrepreneurial initiative. Moreover, as China transitions from a high-growth export-oriented economy to a more balanced and consumption-driven model, it will need to address structural imbalances, such as income inequality, environmental degradation, and an over-reliance on investment. This will require further reforms aimed at strengthening market mechanisms, promoting innovation, and ensuring that the benefits of economic growth are more equitably shared. The sustainability of the China model also hinges on its ability to adapt to a rapidly changing global landscape, marked by technological disruption, geopolitical uncertainty, and growing concerns about climate change. This will require embracing greater openness and transparency, fostering international cooperation, and demonstrating a willingness to play a constructive role in shaping global norms and institutions. Section 3. Navigating Headwinds, Examining the Challenges and Opportunities Facing China in the 21st Century. While China's economic achievements are undeniable, it would be naive to downplay the significant challenges it faces in the coming decades. These challenges, both domestic and external, will test the resilience of its economy and the adaptability of its political system. Domestically, China is grappling with a shrinking workforce, a rapidly aging population, and rising income inequality, factors that could potentially constrain future growth and fuel social unrest. Addressing these demographic and social challenges will require innovative policy solutions, such as reforming the social safety net, encouraging higher birth rates, and promoting more inclusive growth that benefits all segments of society. Externally, China faces a more uncertain geopolitical environment, marked by growing strategic competition with the United States, trade tensions, and concerns about its growing military assertiveness. Navigating these geopolitical headwinds will require deft diplomacy, a commitment to multilateralism, and a willingness to address the concerns of its neighbors and global partners. However, amidst these challenges lie immense opportunities. China's vast domestic market, its growing technological prowess, and its expanding middle class provide a solid foundation for continued economic growth. Moreover, China's leadership in areas like renewable energy, Artificial intelligence and 5G telecommunications positions it to play a leading role in shaping the industries of the future. Section 4. The Global Stakes. Understanding the implications of China's trajectory for the global economy. China's economic trajectory has profound implications for the global economy, impacting everything from trade and investment to technological innovation and the balance of global power. As China's economic might grows, so too does its influence on the global stage, creating both opportunities and challenges for other nations. On the one hand, China's continued economic growth presents significant opportunities for the global economy. China's expanding middle class represents a vast new market for goods and services, while its investments in infrastructure and technology are driving global demand and innovation. Moreover, China's growing role in global trade and finance is creating new opportunities for developing countries, providing access to markets, capital, and technology. On the other hand, China's rise has also fueled anxieties about economic competition, job displacement, and a shifting balance of power. Some countries view China's economic expansion as a threat to their own economic interests, leading to protectionist measures and trade tensions. Moreover, China's growing geopolitical clout and its assertive foreign policy have raised concerns about its commitment to the existing international order. The global community has a vested interest in China's continued economic success, as its growth benefits the world economy as a whole. However, realizing the full potential of this interconnectedness requires addressing legitimate concerns about fair trade practices, intellectual property rights, and responsible global citizenship. Section 5. A call for nuance. Embracing complexity and moving beyond simplistic narratives. As we've explored, the China collapse theory, with its simplistic narrative of inevitable decline, fails to capture the complexity and dynamism of China's economic reality. It's a narrative that's often driven by fear, prejudice, or a lack of understanding, rather than a sober assessment of the facts. Moving forward, it's essential to approach the question of China's economic future with a greater degree of nuance and sophistication. This requires engaging with a wider range of perspectives, challenging our own assumptions, and embracing the inherent uncertainty of predicting complex social and economic phenomena. Instead of clinging to simplistic narratives of boom and bust, we should strive for a more balanced and informed understanding of China's economic trajectory. This requires acknowledging both the challenges and the opportunities, the vulnerabilities and the strengths that will shape its future. Ultimately, the story of China's economic future is still being written. It's a story with no predetermined ending, a story that will be shaped by the choices made by its leaders, the ingenuity of its people, and the complex interplay of global forces. It's a story that demands our attention, our critical thinking, and our willingness to engage with the world's most populous nation on its own terms.